3-year-old boy falls into gorilla enclosure. What happened next is shocking. A regular day at the zoo for Jamie and his mother quickly turned into a much more adventurous and adrenaline-inducing day when the boy fell into the gorilla enclosure. Everyone expected the worst for the boy, but what happened next might just warm your heart. Keep watching to find out the fate of this young man. The morning sun bathed Jamie's room in a warm golden glow as he bounced on his bed with boundless enthusiasm. His 3-year-old energy was infectious and he couldn't contain his excitement. Today was a special day, a zoo day with his mom, Jill. "Mommy, is it time to go to the zoo yet?" Jamie asked for what felt like 100th time. Jill, who was folding laundry in the living room, smiled at her son's eagerness. "Not just yet, sweetheart. I need to finish some chores first." "But I want to see the gorillas, Mommy." Jill laughed, crossing the room to tussle Jamie's hair affectionately. "I know, Jamie. You've been talking about Binti and her baby all week. We'll go soon, I promise. I just need to finish folding these clothes." Jamie couldn't hide his excitement, his little heart racing at the thought of seeing the gorillas. "Binti and her baby are waiting for us. I want to show them the drawing." Jill knelt down to Jamie's level, holding his tiny hands. "I know you've been looking forward to it, sweetie. We'll go as soon as Mommy's done with her chores, okay?" "Promise, Mommy?" "I promise." As Jill continued with her chores, Jamie fidgeted with excitement. He couldn't wait to see Binti, the majestic gorilla with silver fur and her playful baby. He had spent days drawing pictures of gorillas and was eager to share them. Finally, after what felt like an eternity to Jamie, Jill put the last folded shirt into a neat pile and stood up. "All done, Jamie. Zoo time." Jamie's face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Yay, let's go see Binti and her baby." They grabbed their backpack filled with snacks, sunscreen, and Jamie's drawings of gorillas. Holding hands, they headed out the door. As the sun rose over the zoo, 2 dedicated zookeepers, Tom and Bob, prepared for another day of caring for the animals. Their attention was drawn to the gorilla enclosure, where the majestic silverback gorilla Binti lived with her young one. Today, they couldn't help but notice that Binti seemed to be in a relatively good mood. Tom leaned against the railing and looked at Binti, reminiscing about her remarkable history. "You know, Bob, Binti's story's one for the books. She was abandoned by her mother when she was just a baby, left vulnerable because her mother was tragically shot by poachers. It's heartbreaking to think about." Bob nodded in agreement. "Yeah, that's right. The zoo staff stepped in and raised her with all the love and care she needed. She's come a long way since those early days." Binti's upbringing by humans had its advantages and disadvantages. On one hand, she'd become quite accustomed to human interaction, and she often liked to engage with the zoo visitors, captivating them with her intelligence and charm. Her ability to connect with humans made her a favorite among many guests. Tom added, "But you know, despite her friendly demeanor, Binti's still a gorilla. She has her moments and her temper can flare up from time to time. It's important for everyone to remember that she's a wild animal with wild instincts." Today, however, Binti seemed unusually serene. "Look at her, Bob," Tom continued. "She's munching on those treats we gave her earlier. Those are her favorites, you know." Bob grinned as he watched Binti savoring her treats. "Must be why she's in such a good mood today. Those treats always put a smile on her face." "Seems that way. Let's keep an eye on her throughout the day just in case, but for now I think we can all enjoy a peaceful morning." As the day at the zoo unfolded, visitors marveled at Binti and her adorable young one, blissfully unaware of the remarkable story and temperament of the silverback gorilla they'd come to see. Today, Binti's good mood made her interactions with humans even more special, creating lasting memories for those lucky enough to witness her gentle nature. At the zoo, the air was filled with a scent of adventure and the distant sounds of animals. Jamie's excitement reached new heights as they entered the primate exhibit. He tugged at Jill's hand, eager to reach the gorilla enclosure. As they approached the gorilla habitat, Jamie spotted Binti, the matriarch of the group, cradling her baby in her arms. His eyes widened with wonder. "Mom, look, it's Binti and her baby!" Jamie exclaimed, his voice filled with awe. Jill couldn't help but share in Jamie's excitement. "Yeah, Jamie, it's them. Let's find a good spot to watch." They settled in front of the glass wall, giving them an up-close view of the gorillas. Jamie took out his drawings and pressed them against the wall as if sharing his artwork with his gorilla friends. "Look, Mommy, I drew gorillas for Binti and her baby," Jamie said proudly. Jill smiled as she watched her son interact with the gorillas. "That's wonderful, Jamie. I'm sure they appreciate your drawings." Jamie's attention was fully captivated by the gorillas. He observed their every move, their gestures, and the way Binti cared for her baby. He couldn't take his eyes off them. As they spent more time at the exhibit, Jamie's heart swelled with a sense of connection to the gorillas. He whispered, "Mommy, I love them. They're my friends." Jill hugged Jamie gently. "I know you do, sweetheart. They're amazing animals, aren't they?" However, Jamie didn't have enough of just looking at the majestic beast through the glass, so he asked to go around the other side to the top of the enclosure so he could look down on the gorilla. Jill happily agreed as she loved nothing more than seeing the smile on Jamie's face. Panic surged through Jill as she turned around to see Jamie, her little explorer, precariously perched on the wall of the gorilla enclosure. Her voice quivered with fear as she yelled, "Jamie, get down from there, it's dangerous!" Startled by his mother's urgency, Jamie quickly descended from the wall and returned to the safety of solid ground. "I won't do it again," he promised. Jill let out a sigh of relief, but little did she know that Jamie's adventurous spirit would soon lead to a heart-stopping moment. As soon as she turned her attention away to snap a photo of the gorillas, Jamie couldn't resist the temptation of getting a better view. He climbed back up the wall, determined to see the gorillas up close. Just as he reached the top, Jamie lost his footing and tumbled down into the gorilla enclosure. Panic surged through Jill once again as she screamed for help. Passers-by and zoo staff alike turned their attention to the unfolding drama. Among those who rushed to the scene were Tom and Bob, the experienced zookeepers. They exchanged concerned glances and began to assess the situation. The safety of both Jamie and Binti the gorilla was paramount, and they needed to act swiftly. As they spoke in hushed tones considering their options, Jill's frantic pleas echoed through the air. It was a heart-wrenching moment for all involved. The thought of tranquilizing or euthanizing Binti for James' safety weighed heavily on their minds, but they knew that Binti was a special gorilla cherished by the zoo and its visitors. Tom and Bob knew they had to try a different approach. They spoke quietly to Jamie, who remained surprisingly calm amid the chaos. "Jamie, stay still and quiet, don't make sudden movements," Tom instructed, his voice soothing yet urgent. Meanwhile, Binti the gorilla approached Jamie with measured steps. She didn't exhibit any signs of aggression, but rather curiosity and concern. Her eyes locked onto the young boy and she approached him slowly. A gasp of collective horror rippled through the crowd as Binti reached out to Jamie. But to their astonishment, her touch was gentle, like a mother caring for her own offspring. She even picked Jamie up with incredible tenderness, cradling him in her arms. Tears welled up in Jill's eyes as she watched the unprecedented scene unfold. She was overwhelmed with fear for her son's safety, but also touched by the unexpected gentleness of the gorilla. People held their breath, expecting the worst. However, Binti surprised everyone by carrying Jamie to the opening of the enclosure. She approached the doors and placed him gently on the ground, as if understanding the need for his rescue. With a final meaningful glance toward Tom and Bob, she slowly walked away. Relief washed over the onlookers as zookeepers rushed in to retrieve Jamie. Jill embraced her son with tears streaming down her face, her voice trembling as she exclaimed, "Jamie, you're safe!" The crowd erupted into applause and cheers as Jamie was reunited with his mother. Concerned strangers asked him if he was okay, but to their surprise, Jamie seemed to have taken the adventure in stride. He smiled and said, "I got to meet Binti up close, Mommy." Jill hugged Jamie tightly, her heart filled with gratitude for the miraculous turn of events. As they left the zoo that day, Jamie's adventurous spirit remained undaunted, and the memory of his encounter with Binti the gentle gorilla would stay with him forever. After the heart-pounding ordeal at the gorilla enclosure, Jill decided to treat Jamie to some ice cream from the zoo's concession stand. They sat at a shaded picnic table, savoring the cool treats and soaking in the relief of Jamie's safe return. As they enjoyed their ice cream, Jill couldn't help but reflect on the incredible encounter they'd just witnessed. Tom and Bob, the zookeepers who had played a pivotal role in the day's events, approached Jill's table. She greeted them with a warm smile, gratitude shining in her eyes. "Thank you both so much for what you did back there. I can't believe Binti didn't hurt my son. You saved us all from a terrible situation." Tom, with a friendly demeanor, responded, "We're just glad everything turned out well, Jill. Binti's a unique case. She was raised by humans from a very young age, which made her more accustomed to being around people than other gorillas." Bob chimed in, "Exactly. That's why in some ways she's comfortable around humans. Of course, it's always a tricky situation when someone enters her enclosure, but we've observed her interactions in the past and we had a hunch she wouldn't harm Jamie." "Raised by humans? That's incredible. But weren't you worried about what could have happened? I mean, the worst-case scenario?" Tom nodded, acknowledging the seriousness of the situation. "Oh, we were definitely concerned. In the worst case, we might have had to consider euthanizing Binti to ensure Jamie's safety, but in our hearts, we believed she wouldn't hurt him. And we had a tranquilizer dart ready just in case, but we hoped it wouldn't come to that. Thankfully, Binti's maternal instincts seemed to kick in, and she acted in a way that surprised all of us." Jill listened intently, her admiration for the zookeepers growing with every word. "You must know Binti very well. It's remarkable how you handled the situation with such care and expertise." Tom smiled warmly. "We've spent years working with these animals, and each one has its own unique personality. Binti's history made us cautiously optimistic, and we're relieved that everything ended peacefully." As their conversation continued, Jill couldn't help but feel a profound respect for the dedicated individuals who ensured her son's safety and the well-being of the extraordinary gorilla Binti. Their shared experience at the zoo that day would forever be etched in her memory, a testament to the remarkable bond between humans and the wild creatures with whom we share our planet. For more touching stories of the love shared between animals and humans, and for many other heartwarming tales, subscribe to our channel.